I'm Rick Allen. I'm the CEO of ViewLift. We are a streaming and monetization platform for sports at the team and league level, as well as for entertainment and media companies, broadcast groups, and other content owners. I'm joined today, furthest to your right, my left, is Scott Morris. Scott now runs a consulting firm, but previously was SVP for Technology and Innovation with Nexstar, one of the largest television station groups in the US, and thankfully a client of ours, in full disclosure.
The largest. They're the largest, yes.
The largest. And Louis is both co-founder and then CTO and head of strategy for LiveLike, which we found to be one of the most impressive firms in finding new ways to really engage fans in video and related content. And I'll start with you, Scott. As you think about a streaming service in the sports area, what are kind of table stakes? What do people have to bring in terms of UI and UX just to satisfy fans based on current expectations?
Well, I think everybody knows that latency is the biggest thing, right? And availability, right? So if you're looking at traditionally cable's always on unless you're literally out of power, right? And so streaming services historically haven't been quite as reliable as that. And so having full reliability, low latency, getting down, cable somewhere between 5 and 18 seconds of latency, right? Whereas, but it tends to be on the lower end. So streaming needs to sort of match that, like 5-6 seconds, low latency, and that will help with a lot of the real-time interactivity and things like that. So that's really the table stakes, because, as you start looking at the things to build around that, we'll talk a lot about that with the engagement and all these things. And obviously, he's a bit of an expert at that, so we'll let him speak to some of that as well. But that's really sort of the table stakes. You need to have, and the quality of the stream as well, right? Because I personally have Prime, and watching the games, sometimes you get some viewability issues with the quality of the stream and things like that, and then it picks back up, but it's, it needs to be pretty steady state.
Well, obviously the content. When we're talking about live sports, why am I going to this platform? Why am I choosing one platform over the other? It ultimately comes down to which game am I watching, right? Which show am I watching? All the things that Scott has brought up are relevant too, right? You want the app to be fast loading. You want it to be, the uptime to be right. You want it to be consistent. But when we're talking about table stakes, like we're in 2023 now, right? Yeah. That is the expectation. And actually, probably some of our frustration is that continues to be, hey, let's just get this stuff done, right? Right? And there is so much more that the devices that this experience sit on can enable, right? That we think should then add incremental value to the entire stream experience, not just for the content provider itself, but also for the user as well, right? Like when we are watching a show or when we are watching a game, we're now choosing to find our niche, right? Who we want to affiliate with. And based on that, the content provider or the platform can then find ways to accentuate that niche, right? I'm a US soccer fan. How do I then bring out my fandom in US soccer and help me find my community better that way? Right now, we're just watching the game, and then we're just finding our community on Twitter, iMessage, et cetera. And so there is, to us, a lot more that should become table stakes. But to the point, yes, content and reliability are most important.
And a lot of times you'll have, like people my age, for instance, they'll do the dual screen. They'll have this lean back, and then they'll be doing stuff on their phone or their computer, right? But the never quarters, for instance, which like my son and things like that, they're not that. They're much more engaged. My son has probably only watched like 2 football games ever on a television, whereas he watches every game on his phone all the time.